I'm working on a 2005 Equinox. Problem, customer said that, actually it's a friend of mine, said that the brakes pulsate when at slow speeds when they apply the brakes. And it's been to the dealer twice. It's had a speed sensor put on it. It's had numerous things done to it. But let's find out what's wrong. Here's the car. 2005 Chevy Equinox. Let's dig right in. The first thing we're going to do is, you always want to check the fluid and make sure the fluid's up. Now I'll give you a little hint. I've already done something here, but I'm not going to give it away yet. So first thing we do is pop the cap and we check for dirt. Everything looked clean right now, but I'll give you a little hint. When I first popped this off, there was water. It was condensation up here, and it was also dirt. So that kind of gave me a good line. There was no codes either. No codes on the thing. So anyway, I'll get back to you as soon as I take the wheel off. And right now we're looking at the front tire. It's actually a front suspension here. It's off. There was a brake job done to it that I noticed was done. Somebody did the sensor. That's the new sensor. Actually, I put the clips and stuff on there. There's the new sensor put in there. What I noticed they didn't do was do the tie down, so this wire here was rubbing against here, causing friction. In other words, a magnetic buildup. That was one thing. That's why the ABS light was coming on and off. There was no codes stored, but the ABS light was coming on and off here and there. The other thing that was happening is the pulsation. So what it is, I pulled that sensor out, cleaned it off, and I found that there was shavings on it. So I cleaned out the whole system, which they obviously didn't do. They didn't clean anything out there. Another thing I did is I took this cap off right here. You notice you take this cap off, and you can bleed that. That's a 10 millimeter right there. And to bleed these things, because it's an ABS system, you want to use a vacuum bleeder on these things, because it's so much, it takes a little bit more time, but it's so much easier. And then I did the whole system twice. Now what comes out of here, it looked like motor oil when it first came out, and now when it comes out, it looks super clean. So, and now no more pulsation. He used to hear the electric motor kick in, or it sounded like an electric motor type thing kicking in and stuff like that at slow speeds. You know, like when he was coming up to a stop sign, real slow speeds. That used to happen. It doesn't happen no more. The second thing, and the dealer told him he needed new struts. So, because the boot was loose, well, he doesn't need new struts. The noise that he's hearing from the front, the like shimming sound, is these things here. See this here? This attaches to the sway bar. Okay, now these joints here, those joints there start to loosen up after a while. There's one there, and there's one here on top. And when they loosen up, it just magnifies the heck out of that sound. So I'm going to change these, and we'll test drive it, and we'll see if that sound goes away. And I'll bet you $10 to a donut that goes away. So let me change them. Like I said, I've already done the brake thing. That's already cured. And we'll go from there. Okay, this is something important that I wanted to show you. These are 14s. You want to make sure you get the same size length and the same size pitch on these. These are 14s. These are the new ones right here. And these are the old ones. So I'm going to go ahead and install it now. Okay, there it is. I don't know if you can see it that well, but that's the new arm, starting from there, working our way down there. So there's a location on your axle. There's a front axle, it's the driver's side, and there is the arm from there down to there, and it goes to the sway bar. If you're hearing a lot of clanking noise going on in the front end, everything's tight, your half shafts are good. 90% of the time, that's what it is. Okay, everybody, now that you've seen how to change all those things. The first thing we did, we had a problem with the brakes, pulsating, kicking back at low speeds, and making like an electrical sound. It was the ABS, and every now and then you get the ABS light flashing at you every now and then. Okay, we found the problem, which was the sensor that had been replaced, had some metal fragments on it that were stuck to it because the thing is a magnet. We cleaned it off. We cleaned off the teeth. We cleaned out the whole cylinder in there, so it's nice and clean. Then, on top of that, we checked the brake fluid, which was contaminated, and we bled the whole system out, emptied all the contamination out, and we put in .3. The recommendation for that vehicle is .3 brake fluid. You don't want to mix brake fluids. I don't care what anybody says. When you mix brake fluids, you end up in trouble. And this is why, because of what happened there. So we did that. Works fine now. The other thing was a thumping sound. When you hit bumps in the road, it sounded like something was loose, ready to fall apart in the front of the car. Okay, it was the stabilizer on your stabilizer bar, the stabilizer arms. That's what was the problem. We replaced those. They were $20 a piece, so we spent $40 there. Replaced, no problem, 2 bolts a piece. No more thumping around, no more loose parts. It sounds really good going down the street. Sounds real quiet. Then we changed the spark plugs because the thing was having a hard time starting. I noticed that the spark plugs were original, and even though they didn't look too bad, they still needed to be replaced. The car was hard starting because of one last thing. The air horn. If you check the air horn, when I looked inside there, it was caked full of carbon. So once again, just a little bit of cleaning inside the air horn. You take some of the throttle body cleaner, and you clean out real good. I normally take a brush and clean out inside there real good. With GM products, you can't move the flap, so you've got to be real careful in there that you don't move it because it messes with the computer. So you got to be real careful with those things. It's either that or you do it while it's running. It's hard to do it because it wants to stall all the time, so you got to be real careful and fast. So it usually takes 2 people. So anyway, that was cleaned out. The car runs fantastic. It's quiet. Brakes fine. No more warning lights. It's right back on the road again. So if you have problems with your dealer, if you have problems with other shops, give me a shout and I'll see if I can figure it out for you. This is Grandpa Ken. You can hit me up at the Grandpa Ken Show at gmail.com, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Just remember, I get full bags of mail every day, so sometimes it takes me a couple weeks to get back to people, but I will get back to you. So anyway, thank you for watching the Grandpa Ken Show. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'm out. Bye. Bye.